There I was in quite a predicament. Earlier in the day, while scouting for some possible wormholes to enter later in the evening, I noticed there was a standard sleeper cache. Almost half a day later, I noticed it was still up. I'll admit I know very little about standard sleeper caches. I've never run one. I knew enough, like many, to just stay away from them. However, curiosity got the better of me. I thought, why not go and peek inside? I had no plans to record whatever couple of containers I'd be able to hack before being forced to give up. I then looted a fairly substantial amount of loot. On top of that, the posse module, once crafted, I'd end up selling for 114 million each. The blueprint copy had 3 runs. As a result, I really wanted to give the rest of the site a try. From what little I understand of standard sleeper cache, you need to kill some turrets. Just one massive issue with that: I'm in an Anathema. While it might be considered cheating a bit since this series is doing as much as I can in an Anathema, I decided to enlist the help of an alt, so I could at least try to get some kind of understanding of standard sleeper cache. I'll be the first one to admit this is not how to run one of these, as you are about to see. First, I hacked a defense grid unit. It ended up moving one of the sentry turrets. Still not sure if that was the right play, but for what I'm about to do it was. Next up, there were 3 coordinate plotting devices to hack. I ended up putting them into the high energy calibration for the gate. This would end up sending me to the back of the pocket that had 2 sentries at it. As I was about to find out, they hit for 800 damage. Not good for me, or rather the alt I sent in hoping to kill one. Once everything was all set, I sent the alt down to the other end to see how bad it was going to be. It did not take long before he needed to warp out. He also did next to no damage to the sentry I sent him after. After some failed attempts, I decided to send the alt in first and get aggression. I'd then send him to orbit one of the sentries. I then went in shortly after him and hacked the remote defense grid unit. Yep, that's the alt getting blown up. Thankfully, he was in a very cheap fit. At this point, I have no clue how much time I have left, and it's time to rush finishing this off. While that moved one of the sentries away, there was still one left, and so I warped out and then back in.
Warp drive active.
I then refitted the alt, and this time, with just one sentry, he was able to take out the threat. With no imminent danger, I went to the back of the pocket. I realized there were a few containers that were all inactive. Once I flew close enough to each one, they could be hacked. I ended up getting 3 runs of this warp scrambler blueprint. Each one, I could make a 21 million profit. While getting to this point was a bit of a trouble. So far, these containers have been decent. A couple of times I thought I was done. Warped off to drop off some loot at a station. Then I'd fly back and realize there were more containers to hack into. I then sent my alt off to take out another sentry for me. This site also has a bonus room. It, however, requires you to set off the alarm. Then a bunch of gas fills the site, and you need to speed off far away from it to survive. I attempted a couple of times to see if my alt could shoot at anything to set it off. After some failed attempts, I sent him to the back room, and he found something he could damage. It sure did the trick.
Warp drive active.
While I was 188 kilometers away from an objective at the site, sitting there, hoping my alt could set an alarm on his own. It almost did not feel far enough away once the site filled up with gas. Once I was in the bonus pocket, I hacked a remote defense grid unit that started a timer. It also spawned a couple of containers. Four loot containers spawned along with a device I could hack to get more time. I went for the first two, then worked on the self-destruction mechanism. An extra 76 million in loot for my troubles. I'll take it. In total, I got 228 million in raw loot. I'd also make another 386 million in profit from crafting the blueprint copies I got. Not a bad way to start things off.
Warp drive active.
As if I thought all the fun was over, I found a ghost site. It was just one in high security, so I did not expect much out of it. I also was not feeling very risky after the last site. As expected, it was not that great.
Warp drive active.
Finally, I made it to my natural habitat wormhole space, and it did not take long to find some sites. This class 1 ended up being rather decent. Right away, I was finding data and relic sites to run.
drive active.
I had to do a double take after seeing how much that Yen Yong tachyon was estimated to be valued at. Even better, I sold it for about 20 million more than shown. I don't know what it was about this. While I ended up finding multiple drone relic sites to run, a couple of them were not as good as everything else was. This one was, however, decent. This Class 2 wormhole was loaded with relics and data sites. It also has had quite a violent past. So, my eyes were glued to D-scan. I've really been needing Tier 2 nanite compound. I'm now stocked for a while after this adventure.
active.
While I did not care too much for this data site in this class 1, I got to say it looked amazing with the backdrop of the cataclysmic variable effect this wormhole had.
Warp drive active. Warp drive active.
While I was really tempting fate, as I had to pass some less than 4 hours and a little less than 1 hour remaining wormholes to get here. Once I realized one of them had a low security static, I just had to go for it. This would also end up being a massive issue. It's only fitting I started things off with a standard sleeper cache, and I'd end up finding another one as I was about to head home one final time. While I got some decent loot, I decided if I could get my alt down here. I knew time was not in my favor. If nothing else, I'd just keep exploring till I found a high-security wormhole and fly back the long way if needed. I, however, did not want to sit around exposed. So I cloaked up, I guess learning about the standard sleeper cache sites was not the only thing I was about to learn today. The site despawned on me, and I decided to call it a night. I did end up crafting up some of the blueprint copies I looted during this, and I tossed the end items into the final loot total. While this skews the numbers slightly, it amounts to the remaining profit I'd make from the blueprint copies I had yet to craft, since I lacked the materials to do so for the time being. Thanks for making it to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more EVE Online exploration videos.